Reinforcements have arrived. Mission timer initialized.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Awaiting or affirmative.
Reporting. Affirmative. 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 Acknowledge.
Reinforcements have arrived.
Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Comrade, acknowledged. Affirmative. Reporting.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
New construction options. Building.
Vehicle
Acknowledged.
reporting.
Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Construction complete. New construction options. Building.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Acknowledged.
Reporting.
Unit lost.
Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Awaiting acknowledged.
Construction
Affirmative.
complete.
Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Unit lost.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
New construction options. Building.
Vehicle reporting. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Construction complete. Building.
Awaiting orders. Yes, sir. Awaiting orders. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. 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 Affirmative.
Construction complete. New construction options. Building. Construction complete. New construction options. Building. Construction complete. New construction options. Building. Building. Unit ready. Building. Construction complete.
Vehicle report. Acknowledged.
New construction options. Building. Unit ready. Building. Insufficient funds.
Yes, sir.
Building.
Acknowledged.
Reporting. Affirmative. Vehicle reported. Reporting.
Unit lost.
Waiting order. Affirmative.
Unit ready. Building.
Acknowledged.
Unit ready. Building.
Awaiting orders. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Vehicle reporting. Affirmative. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Unit ready. Building. Construction complete. New construction options.
Awaiting orders. Acknowledged.
Insufficient funds. Repairing. Insufficient funds. Building. Repairing. Insufficient funds. Repairing. Unit ready.
Report
Building.
acknowledged.
Insufficient
Acknowledged.
funds.
Vehicle reported.
Repairing. Construction complete. Unit ready. Building.
Yes, sir.
Insufficient
Acknowledged.
funds.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Repairing. Unit repaired. Building.
Vehicle report acknowledged.
Waiting order. Affirmative.
Repairing. Insufficient funds. Repairing. Unit
Awaiting
ready.
orders. Affirmative.
Building. Insufficient funds.
Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Insufficient
Yes, sir.
funds.
Affirmative.
Unit ready.
Yes, sir.
Building.
Affirmative.
Repairing. Insufficient funds. Repairing. Insufficient funds.
Awaiting orders. Acknowledged.
Repairing. Insufficient funds. Repairing. Unit repaired.
Yes, sir.
Unit
Affirmative.
ready.
Comrade. Affirmative. Comrade. Affirmative.
Unit ready.
Acknowledged.
Building. Construction complete.
Awaiting orders. Affirmative.
New construction options.
Report. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Yes, sir.
Unit
Acknowledged.
ready.
Reporting. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Unit lost.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Building.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Unit ready. Building. Insufficient funds.
Waiting acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Construction complete. Unit ready.
Reporting.
Building.
Acknowledged. Awaiting orders. Acknowledged.
Repairing. Unit ready. Building.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Unit repaired.
Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Repairing.
Affirmative.
Unit ready. Building. Insufficient funds.
Awaiting orders. Acknowledged.
Repairing.
Awaiting orders.
Unit repaired.
Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Naval unit lost.
Acknowledged.
Unit ready. Building.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative.
Insufficient funds.
Acknowledged.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Naval unit lost.
Acknowledged.
Unit ready. Building.
Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Unit
Affirmative.
ready.
Acknowledged.
Building.
Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Naval
Acknowledged.
unit lost.
Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Yes, sir.
Unit ready.
Acknowledged.
Building.
Affirmative. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Insufficient
Acknowledged.
funds.
Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Unit
Affirmative.
ready.
Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Reporting. Acknowledged.
Unit ready.
Vehicle
Building.
report. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Reporting at once. Affirmative.
Prepare.
Yes, sir. Very well. At once. Of headquarters.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Unit repaired.
Acknowledged. Reporting. Affirmative. Reporting. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Waiting
Reporting.
order. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Repairing. Unit ready. Building.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Insufficient funds.
Comrade.
Vehicle reporting.
Repairing.
Affirmative.
Unit
Yes, sir.
repaired.
Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Insufficient funds.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Reporting. At once.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Comrade.
Repairing.
Acknowledged.
Unit
Vehicle
ready.
reporting. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Unit repaired.
Affirmative. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Awaiting
Affirmative.
orders.
Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Silos
Affirmative.
needed. Building.
Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Unit
sir.
ready.
Yes, sir.
Building.
Affirmative. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Silos needed.
Awaiting acknowledged. Affirmative.
Waiting affirmative.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Comrade. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Building.
Comrade. Affirmative.
Unit
Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Construction complete.
Waiting order. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Unit ready.
Acknowledged.
Building.
Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Unit ready.
Affirmative.
Building. Naval unit lost. Naval unit
Acknowledged.
lost.
Affirmative.
Naval unit lost.
Acknowledged.
Unit lost.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Comrade.
Prepare.
Comrade.
Unit
Yes, sir.
ready.
Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Vehicle report. Acknowledged.
Unit
Acknowledged.
prepared.
Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Yes, affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. Affirmative. 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 Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Comrade.
Awaiting orders. Affirmative. Reporting. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Silos needed.
Affirmative. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. 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 Waiting order. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Yes, sir.
Silos needed.
Affirmative. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Awaiting or acknowledged. Affirmative.
Silos needed.
Yes, sir.
Building.
Acknowledged. Yes, sir.
Unit
Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Unit lost.
Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Silos needed.
Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Unit ready. Building.
Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Reinforcements have arrived. Silos
Acknowledged.
needed.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Unit
Acknowledged.
lost.
Acknowledged.
Unit lost.
Affirmative.
Unit lost. 40 minutes remaining.
Acknowledged.
Unit lost.
Acknowledged.
Unit ready.
Acknowledged.
Building.
Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Unit ready.
Vehicle
Building.
reporting.
Acknowledged.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Awaiting orders. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Training. Unit ready. Training. Unit
Yes,
ready.
sir. Affirmative.
Training. Unit
Acknowledged.
ready. Training.
Affirmative.
Unit ready. Training. Building. Unit
Yes, sir.
ready.
Affirmative.
Training. Unit ready. Training. Unit
Yes, sir.
ready. Unit
Acknowledged.
ready.
Affirmative. Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Waiting order. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Unit ready. Building.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Yes, sir. Very well. Affirmative.
Reporting. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Reporting. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Preparing.
Yes, sir.
Unit ready. Building.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Unit
Awaiting
prepared.
orders. Acknowledged.
Comrade. Acknowledged.
Repairing.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Unit repaired.
Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Awaiting orders.
Unit ready. Building.
Awaiting orders. Acknowledged. Awaiting orders. Vehicle reporting. Acknowledged. Vehicle reporting. Affirmative.
Comrade. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Unit ready.
Acknowledged.
Building.
Affirmative. Reporting. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Unit
Acknowledged.
repaired.
Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Unit ready.
Acknowledged.
Building.
Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
30 minutes
Yes, sir.
remaining.
Acknowledged.
Repairing.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Vehicle reporting. Affirmative. Awaiting
Unit
order.
prepared.
Acknowledged. Reporting. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Unit ready. Building.
Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Awaiting orders. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
On hold. Building.
Affirmative.
Our base is under
Affirmative.
attack. Unit ready.
Acknowledged.
Waiting order.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Yes,
Awaiting
sir.
acknowledged.
Waiting
Yes, sir.
order.
Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Repairing.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Acknowledged. At once. Affirmative. Very well. Very well. At once. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir. At once. Affirmative. Very well. Yes, sir. Very well. Affirmative. At once. Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Unit lost.
At once.
Unit lost.
Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Acknowledged.
20 minutes.
Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Yes, sir.
Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Vehicle report acknowledged.
Comrade. Affirmative. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Have arrived.
Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Reporting.
Unit lost.
Reporting.
Unit
Yeah.
lost.
Okay. Okay.
Unit
Vehicle
lost.
report acknowledged.
Unit lost.
Waiting orders.
Lost.
Reporting.
Unit lost.
Affirmative.
Unit
Affirmative.
lost.
Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Report acknowledged.
Mission accomplished.
Congratulations, comrade. That was a difficult campaign. I do not envy you. Yet I think all of Spain was beaten into submission. What you left of it. I know your most difficult missions still lie ahead. I will not keep you from your work. Let us say, the next time we meet, we'll be with vodka in our hands and large women on our arms. До свидания, Kerry. Be well. And here we are, comrade. You have done your job so well, I am out of mine. As I predicted, no war to fight. Yet, do not worry. I have a dasher to tend, cabbages to grow. And as we both know, I have lost my heart in this. But this I will leave for you in your new office. General,